Hello and welcome to Wrestling with Real Estate, where we love to chokeslam all your real estate problems. I'm host, former WWE wrestler and a circus lady performer, and of course, multi-family real estate investor Barry Grubbers. Now today we're joined by Elijah Rubin. Hey Elijah.
Hey, how's it going, Barry?
It's going awesome, man. I'm excited to have you on the show, man. How are you doing out there in Phoenix, Arizona? You sweating yet, or is it too early to...
Hey, you can't sweat the small stuff, right? But yes, it's hot out here. It's hot out here for sure.
Yeah. It's not very often I speak to someone where they can say it's hotter than Vegas, but I think Phoenix is hotter.
1 degree hotter every time.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, like I said, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm excited to get into today's conversation. It's going to be a really, really good one, no doubt about that. But before we do that, do you want to sort of give an introduction into yourself?
Sure. No, thank you. Once again, thank you, Barry, for the opportunity to share with the people, share with the family. So by all means. So Elijah Rubin, I created a little acronym for my name, a little acronym just to start people off, ELIJAH. I'm really big on empowering leaders, inspiring joy, applied hustle with humility, and so that's a little acronym for my name. But I'm from Arizona. I've been, my mom, I'm 50% Jewish, 50% Trinidadian. I'm 100% entrepreneur. I've been doing real estate in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona, the land of the gurus for about, I'm in my 17th year. I've probably bought and sold over 800 plus properties, over $20-50 million worth of real estate transactions completed. And I don't say that to impress people, but to impress upon you that I have a lot of real life experience, a lot of clocking hours in, punching the clock daily. And so I have a lot of experience I like to share with people. I like to make sure people don't have, when they come to the fork in the road, they can see what my experiences I learned and multiply so they can have a better experience for their life.
Very cool, man. So you 17 years, how old are you now? Because you look pretty young. You look probably maybe younger than me. How old were you started? How old were you when you started?
I started when I was 21 years old, all right? And so now I'm 37 going on 72. Real estate years. Real estate years like dog years out here.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. So when you started, how did you start when you were 21? What you mentioned you had that entrepreneurial, right? You're an 100% entrepreneur. How was that instilled in you? What brought that out in you, and what brought you to real estate?
Sure. I mean, yeah. And I think if you look at a lot of real estate investors, we all have this pretty much in common. And start asking some of your guests this, I promise you. There's two things I noticed most real estate investors have in common. One, a lot of us, I'll say about 85% of us all sold candy or something in elementary school.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So that's one thing I just see. Number two, we're all really good or like to play Monopoly. So I see those are two things you start asking some of your guests. Watch the common theme there. But I realized younger, I want to have my own money. I don't want to be a burden. My mom and dad were we struggled a lot when I was younger. I have two older sisters. Saw my mom one time go to get food out of the trash can in the back of a grocery store. Didn't realize what she was doing until she came back in the car and told us that. And at that moment, I was like 10 years old. I'm like, you know what? I want to be a burden to my family. I want to help support my family. So I started selling candy. I started drawing mazes, selling them to kids in school. I even had a lead pencil business where I fixed lead pencils and sold 0.7 lead to the kids who ran out of lead in class. And so I realized that, hey, I could earn my own money. And fast forward from that, I had dog walking businesses, lemonade stands. I did all that, all right, in the hot Arizona heat. Fast forward, I started realizing I was good at closing. I was good at talking to people. I'm a natural closer. And so I realized every time I hear the word yes, I can make money. So I worked at probably almost like every call center in Arizona at some point in time. So, and after working there a month or two, I kept moving up to All-Star, whatever the top position was, I would get it in the sales department. Fast forward to probably around, I graduated in 2001. So man, going back some years now. And so I started doing club promotions. I want to do club promotions because I realized I wanted to be able to meet more girls. And I know, hey, they want to go to the club. So if I knew where the club is, they at least had to give me their number so I could tell them where the club's at. So that's the logic at that time. And what it taught me, well, first, we're not a major market like at the time, like Chicago, California, Miami, New York. So although I got a chance to do club promotions, I was still kind of broke. because I wasn't making any money, but yeah, I got to meet girls, but I couldn't take them out to dinner. So I realized this is probably going to be the best thing for me, but I did learn how to build relationships. I learned how to add value to people. The only person in the universe effect, where you just make sure people, when you lock in with them, you make sure that they feel like they're the most important thing in the universe at this exact moment, and how to create human equity with people. And so I took that skill set, and I had a street team where we passed out flyers. So we passed out flyers and to get people to come to the club. So I took my 5 top guys. Right when I started real estate, I realized I had to do something that no one else wanted to do. But at the time, in the summertime, no one wants to be out here in Arizona, and for sure, nobody wanted to door knock because it's so hot. So I took my 5 guys. I started a door knocking team. And as I started a door knocking team, I was able to start adding value to people. And so that's one of the best ways I started realizing I could separate myself. And I remember my first deal. I used to circle the news. I used to get the newspaper because I didn't know how to find leads. I didn't know about lead marketing, pulling lists. And remember, back then, they didn't have skip tracing. They didn't have, prop shit. We could pull leads. None of that. All right, no YouTube. So I remember getting a Ron LeGrand book and listening to Carlton Sheets. All right. And I remember getting a Sunday newspaper. And I used to circle the for sale by owner section. And that's the only leads I had. And so I remember calling one lady. She wanted to sell. And I had an investor who I met. And I asked him if he wanted to do does it still work for him? He said yes. Asked me how much I wanted to make. At the time, I only made about $1,000 on any type of real estate transaction at that time. And so the half Jewish side kicked in. Instead of saying 1,000, I said, I want 10,000. I heard him calculate the numbers. He said, all right, cool, 10,000. Yeah, I'll take it. And I asked, like, well, what do I got to do? Do I got to get, a bucket of paint and some overalls and I'll pull up the carpet? He's like, no, you did everything. You gave me the deal. In 2 weeks, your check will be there. 2 weeks later, I went and picked up the check. And funny thing enough, I didn't cash my first check for 30 days because at the time I had braids, no college degree, I'm a minority, I didn't put up no money. I thought it's illegal. I thought it was fraud to cash that first check. I never made $10,000 for no money. So I don't cash the check for 30 days. Eventually, 30 days, I have to pay rent or be on the street. So I cash the check. Long story short, I get the $10,000. I get them in envelopes. I put it in the front seat. And I remember when I got in my car, I shut the doors, I rolled up the windows, I turned up the music, and I just remember just slamming on the steering wheel, screaming at the top of my lung. I felt the change bust that I'll never have to work for somebody again. I'll free my family. If I could do this one time, I could do this 1,000 times. And fast forward 17 years later, I never worked for another person again.
Wow. That's awesome. What a cool story. Because it was that point you realized, hey, I can do this, right? Hey, I have an option. There's something out there for me that I can be good at. I can make money at. And like you said, I can be my own boss, right?
For sure. That's what I wanted to be. As a young kid, I want to be my own boss. I found a way.
That's awesome. So then you carried on. Was it wholesaling that you did? How long so that's essentially wholesaling, right? For you
yeah.
Without knowing it, you were wholesaling, right? I'm sure maybe you didn't know the name of it at the time.
For sure.
But then you grew a wholesaling business from there. Is that what happened from there?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to call it a business. I was just hustling because I didn't know about business, right? I was just hustling, making calls. So the first year, like I said, I made $0. Second year, I made that first $10,000 check, and so I made $60,000 that year. The third year, I made my first $100,000. And the first 100,000, I'm like, changed my mind, it blew my mind. But once again, if you don't have a lot of discipline, you don't your foundation's not set right, your personal development skill set's not developed. I thought I was a rapper. I think I'm making money. I'm going to Miami. I'm flying to Amsterdam, Italy. I'm spending my money faster than I'm making it. However, I keep making it, so I'm thinking I'm winning. And so I'm not really running a business. I'm just hustling, making money. And I do that for almost 10 years. All right. So I did that. Don't get me wrong. I started making 200, 300,000, 400,000. I started making money, but I'm working 50, 60, 70 hours. I'm really working myself to the bone, thinking that this is okay. It wasn't until the collapse happened in 2008. So 4 years later is when Well, I smacked like I can't keep going that way. And so I mean I spent another, I started going after city violations, I started going after probates, trying to figure out how deals work, and I started to do that for like another like 3-4 years. And then what ended up happening, I started noticing houses that were probates, that had city violations on them that sat, they were catching on fire. And so I started stumbling into the fire damage niche, and I was buying fire damage properties. And I asked my investors, like, hey, well, what do you do with these? It's like, oh, Elijah, that's a waste of time. Don't worry about those fire damage properties. Listen, it's out of your model. Nobody wants those anyways. Don't waste your time. I mean, this is the one thing I've ever heard from any investor in Arizona that they won't touch. So I'm like, if you guys run from it, I'm running towards it. And so that's my initial gateway into fire damage, and realize, hey, I need to start running a business and really start having some systems and processes versus just hustling and making calls whenever I want.
Yeah, that's cool. But with the fire damage, you were wholesaling the fire damage, you were flipping them, you were fixing them up to buy and hold. What were you doing with them?
Sure. So essentially, I would wholesale them. So my rule of thumb was I hold the grand slams. I'll flip the home runs, and triples, singles, and doubles, I'll wholesale out. And so I would wholesale the majority of them. But then once I found one that were really good, I'll hold it. I'll get a partner and I'll hold it. We'll fix them up. We'll keep it. Some once in a while, we'll flip them. I don't really like flipping myself personally because of the time it takes and the infrastructure to build a whole cruise. I was struggling to just get in a wholesale system, the team set up, put a whole crew in a lot. I tried a couple, I'm like, whoa, I need to get a project manager or a general contractor to handle this. And so the majority, I'll say about 85 to 90% of them, we wholesale.
Wow. And then with the fire damage, what's the difference between wholesaling a normal property and a fire damage property? Is there much difference, or is it just in the finding them initially?
Great question. So there's a lot of there's several different factors that just makes the fire damage niche unbelievable. So first, you have a homeowner who has, a fire that happens. So a lot of the times they have homeowners insurance, the mortgage insurance. So a lot of times they pay off the mortgage and they have cash. So they play with house money. This is profit to them. So the negotiations are different than, hey, this is the last payment to my name, all right, with another niche. Two, the house is destroyed a lot of times, and these are homeowners. They're not investors like us, so they don't really know how to analyze all the repairs. It looks so devastating, and they can't say Paul's going to fix the roof. There's no roof for Paul to fix, so it's gone. So they're more inclined to take a deeper discount because of all the extensive repairs. And then so few people go after this niche. This is the one untapped niche. So you don't have 50 other people making offers on a probate property. It's a fire damage. So they don't know if they're going to get another offer. They're not sure what's going to happen. So they're more inclined to take a deep discount and do a deal now with you because they're not sure what's going to happen. And then the biggest factor, what I really love about this, on top of it being a hard exclusive niche that most people don't know about, what I like most about what I stumbled into is that you can make up to 3 checks on one deal because you're tapping into the insurance money. And because 80% of the time, the homeowner is only getting 80% of the money, but they don't know it. They assume they pay 100% of the premium each month. They assume it's time to use their policy. They're getting all the money. They don't know it. We go back, help the homeowner get more insurance money, buy the house, help them find another house, help them 3 ways, and we get paid in 3 ways.
Wow. So how does that work? How do you get the extra? So they get an initial payout, like you said, is maybe around 80% of what they could get. How do you get the other 20%? How does that work?
Sure. So what happens is when a fire happens, like I said, it's one of the most devastating things that happen to a homeowner. So like I said, what happens is the insurance company is going to come out there. They're going to look at assess the damage. They're going to provide what's called an exactament. And exactament is just a fancy word to just saying a big old master report that shows exactly the repairs that's owed, that's need to be owed, or to fix up the property, and how much they're willing to justify to pay them. Then you have their declaration pages, which is just your fancy way of saying the first 5 pages of the insurance policy. And so based on their policy, based on their code upgrades and all that good stuff, you're able to see once you do a review of those two, hey, they're not getting all their insurance money. So the way it works is the homeowner keeps 100% of whatever the insurance company offers them. They keep 100% of it. Then we're able to come in with our policy experts, review and do a forensic audit of the exactament and their insurance policy. And then the homeowner's going to keep 50% of any new money you happen to find them. And then you and your policy expert are able to keep the remaining 50%. You guys split that 50-50. If you guys don't find an extra penny for the homeowner doesn't pay a dime for your time. So it's really a no cost, no loss proposition to make sure that they're getting extra insurance money that they didn't even know about. That's the first check. All right. So first check is a wholesale. You know how to buy low, sell low. Second check is working what I explained to you is called a supplemental claim. That's called working a supplemental claim. The third check works like this. Well, now you help the homeowner buy the fire damage property. So now they got, some cash on the table. Second, you did a supplemental claim. So you got the more insurance money they thought was even possible. So now you have a lot more cash to play ball. Now the third check is called a replacement check. All right. So this works because now if this is a primary residence or if this is investment property, they want to replace that property, move back in somewhere to live or start getting more cash flow back on the table. Well, what we teach a lot of our students is how to become a trusted advisor, not just another generic wholesaler of cash. And so because you're a trusted advisor who helped liquidate a property and nobody else wanted, and you got the more insurance money for you, why should they go through anybody else? Why should they go through another realtor, wholesaler, investor to find that next property? By the time you close escrow, you can have 5 new properties to sell them because they have cash and they already trust you because you did something for them in their time of need. And that's how you make 3 checks on one deal.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Talk about serving the people right in their time of need, right? Because for one, like you said, you're giving them that wholesale fee, right? Yeah, that fee for buying the house, right? You're buying the house from them in their time, and they don't know what they're going to do with this distressed property that's burnt, that's a mess. They've gone through all this trauma. Then you're getting them an extra win with the insurance money that they never thought for a second that they were going to get, didn't even know existed. And then thirdly, you can help find them a great deal on the next house that they're going to live in. That's going to be their new home. It's just a win-win for everyone, right? So, you always hear people talk about win-win, but this is a win-win. And it puts you guys in a strong position because you guys did all this for them. And if you go to someone as well, I imagine if you're trying to negotiate a wholesale deal and you say, hey, I might be able to get you some extra insurance money if we're able to go through with this. That puts you in a really strong position. Who wouldn't say, hey, so if I sell you this property, I can make a little bit more money? You know what I mean? Who's going to say no to that, right?
Right, exactly. So it's an ultimate win-win transaction. It's a good field transaction because not only am I helping them in time of need, not only am I helping buying the property, but when you find like an extra $20 in your front pocket you forgot about, how good it feels? Like you're doing that from you didn't know. We're not talking about $2,000 or $3,000. We're talking about $50,000, $100,000, $20,000 more. So we're not talking about like extra $2,000. So, and I'm able to use that new money I find and negotiate a better purchase price for the house, like you said, because at the end of the day, they don't care what they sell for. They care how much they walk away with. If I can help them walk away with more money, with less headache and less hassle in a quicker amount of time, if anybody ever catches a house catches fire, water damage, wind damage, hail damage, any type of natural disaster to a house, they're going to refer me now for the future.
Yeah, and that brings me to the next question is, how are you finding them? Is it a lot of referrals? Do you, it's one thing to find a probate, right? But find a probate that has fire damage, where do you guys find these deals?
Sure. So we have an automatic deal flow engine that we teach in our program. But what happens, I kind of take these notifications, and Jennifer, my partner, my future fiance, and my partner in fire damage program, she's like really good at integration. She's an integrator. She's very smart, and so she teaches our students how to curate these notifications and once you have and start forming your own list. And what happens is, this list, a lot of time, these firefighters will get these calls in, or you can get the same similar list. What happens, they just kind of give you 50% of the time, they give you like ballpark cross streets. 36th Street and Thomas, all right, 3700 block in Thomas. Well, that's not really a house. So you have to write that address down. The ones that aren't right, sometimes you just get the right address number. You can skip chase them and call them right off the bat. Other half of the time, it's these major cross streets. So you take this list, and then you're gonna go and drive, like as if you're driving for dollars. And then you or you can hire somebody to go and drive and you can see it. Well, once you get to that major crossroads, you're gonna see a house with a tarp on it, fenced off, and you can see what the actual address is. Well, think about that. That takes about 1 or 2 steps to do. 80% of investors are wholesale, a little lazier, right? So anything I have to do more than download the list, skip trace it, send to my VAs, they're not doing it. All right. So but the fact that you're willing to do this, think how much competition you're gonna have. It's a small pond. We're even going after this lead here. And so that's one way to do it, to go after the automated way. Then, like I said, there's a once you start going online, you can drive for dollars for these. You can go online, such as Craigslist, Facebook, scrapers. In addition, I'm a really big fan of building relationships. All right, so you can reach out to your board of companies, your fencing companies, your restoration companies, and you have to understand these aren't people. We teach our students that these aren't your competition. They're your comrades servicing the same community. They're not looking to buy the house. They're not trying to buy 50 houses a year. All right. So if a restoration company goes to that house, they're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on pay-per-clicks and marketing just to try to get in front of the homeowner. So they get in front of the same fire damage seller that you want to talk to. And if the homeowner's like, no, I don't want to restore my property. I don't want to rebuild my property. I just want to sell it. Guess what happens to that lead? It sits there. It sits there. They're not like us. They're not doing follow-ups, drip system, text messaging. That lead sits there. So once you build a relationship and let them know, hey, I'm a fire damage specialist. I specialize in buying fire damage properties and helping homeowners not survive a fire, but thrive years after a fire. You let them know, hey, if you come across anybody or you have any past leads that they didn't want to restore the property, if you refer them to me, I'll buy it and I'll pay you a consulting fee for referring them to me. And in exchange, if somebody doesn't want to sell the property, want to restore the property, I'll refer you and then you can pay me a consulting fee. And then I establish a referral-based relationship. And now we're sending leads, and I'm leveraging their marketing, their resources, their time. And because you're going to be like literally the only person who ever approached them this way, they're like, I never heard of this. Sure. I had one lady send me a spreadsheet of all the leads that they went through over the last year. They couldn't do them. They didn't work out. They didn't have enough insurance. She just wanted to sell. I made $137,000 off that one spreadsheet. Wow. Nobody else did that.
I bet you've got to love that woman then, huh? She's your best friend.
I sent her on cruises. I sent her to steakhouses, massages. I took care of her.
Yeah, that's awesome. But that's so smart, right? It's understanding where these leads come from, what the process is, and who could possibly help you find these owners, right? Who could possibly help you find these? Just thinking a little bit different, thinking a little bit outside of the box. I thought you were going to say you went to every firefighting station and bought them all cookies or something like that. So when they go on the call, on the line,
Jimmy John's, guys. I tried it, and very fair enough. I did try that initially. I tried a lot of different things, right? And what you realize when you talk to firefighters, unless you have a relationship with one, a family member with them, you have to understand they're still not really entrepreneurs, right? That's their 9 to 5. And so they don't know what we're doing. So when you tell them, hey, I buy fire damage houses and this is what I do, they're like, listen, I don't know what you are. I don't know what you do. I'm not going to give you a address and have it jeopardize my livelihood. So thanks, but no thanks. And that's what really happens when I approach several firefighters.
Yeah. I've noticed firefighters, they all like to stick together because it's a community, right? They know what they go through to other people that don't the same, because it's a hard job at sometimes, I'm sure. So I've noticed that.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's in a respectful way. How are you building your buyers list then? Because it's not like a normal buyers, like where you have a bunch of buyers for a normal house, right? You've got to find a certain type of flipper or long-term holder that's willing to take on such a project. Was it harder to build a buyers list for something like this?
Sure. And that's a big question. A lot of beginner wholesalers, who've done, mid-level to seasoned wholesalers, we're all about creating sophisticated investors. That's what this is really about. Because what we realized after teaching 2 years, preaching of 2 years of the fire damage gospel out here with the program, we're helping our students. We realized that this is a mental shift they have to have. That if you're in real estate, the way I look at it, like if you're in real estate, you're like in the army. Well, we're going to teach you, being a fire damage and a fire damage specialist, we're going to teach you how to become special ops, how to become a sniper and snipe off opportunities and think outside the box. Take very big pride in becoming a sophisticated investor. So, is that, like you said, you can't just sell this to fiction flippers. It's too much repairs. They don't know what to do. It's out of their scope of work. So there are certain restoration company guys who do buy these. There are going to be seasoned fix and flippers that you can reach out to and talk with. There are also infill lot buyers. If you ever see these lots, if you see a house, lot, house, lot, they don't build subdivisions like that, all right? That lot was probably fire damage. It's probably been sitting there for a year or two. Certain infill builders, so these are like builders who aren't doing like massive developments. They just want to do 1 and 2 lot houses, fix up all the house. They build houses from the ground up, so they're not afraid of this. They already know how to get certificate of occupancies, deal with permits. So those are good buyers. The other good buyers are Section 8 buyers. Section 8 buyers, because they're not banking on equity trying to flip this. They're looking to fix it, whatever the cost is. They're willing to fix it, pay a little bit more, wait the time, because they are all about delayed gratification, them get rents over the next 10 years, and they just want to find a property that's Section 8 qualified. And then the last one I found that was really interesting that I didn't realize was a good source of buyers are certain private money lenders. Certain private money lenders, because their whole job is to lend money. All right. And so and all they deal with all day long are buyers looking to buy properties. And so they can send out your property to their buyers because these buyers are looking for deals. And when it gets time, when it's hard times like this to find inventory, people take anything now. All right. So this is something you're able to do. So that's about 4 or 5 different unique buyers that specifically will buy these fire damage deals once you take time to target them and build those relationships.
Yeah, and that's interesting with it, with the markets being sort of hot now. Has that changed anything for you? Has it made it easier, harder to find deals, or is it just pretty much the same because a fire damage house is a fire damage house, right? It's not like you've got this polished, clean asset that everybody wants, right? It's probably that's probably been a good niche to be in during these crazy times.
Phenomenal niche, and so not only is it like you're the only one going after these, A, but B, you are able to move these faster because people are willing to expand their horizon because I can't find anything. There's like, I mean, here in Arizona, like we went from 25,000 listings, now we're down to like 4,000 actual listings that are qualified in the metropolitan area. That's a really restriction on supply. So these people are like, all right, I'll buy it. Okay, I'll take it. I'll go from 20% return, I'll do 12% return because I need this. So it's easier to move them and still easier to find them because no one else is going after them.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, this is such an interesting topic, man. So interesting, so unique, and not really spoken to so many people that have it dialed in like you do, especially to make 3 checks from one deal, right? Is there anything we haven't touched on about the fire damage stuff that maybe people ask?
Yeah, 2 other things.
Yeah,
2 things. One, is that I want to make sure people understand that the fire damage niche, like I said, it's not for everybody. However, once you're able to see, hey, I want to separate myself from everybody. I want to use a trusted advisor approach. I want to put myself in a position where I'm able to find deals. Once you know how to navigate around the insurance process, and once you know the trusted advisor approach, fire damage is just the tip of the iceberg. If you don't do fire damage, you can do water damage, wind damage, hail damage, hurricane damage, snow damage. It's all very similar. So you can really attach any type of natural disaster that has an insurance. So that's a big part. So when people say, well, how many fires are there? Well, there's a lot of other deals out there you can still do that utilize the same strategy. And then the second part is one thing I have people who just start, like if you haven't never did a deal, I want you to do a deal first. I don't want you jumping into fire damage. All right. We rarely work with just brand new people because it's hard for you to wrap your mind around that this works. You haven't did a regular deal. You haven't made 5,000, 10,000. So you're still questioning if this is even going to work, let alone can I do a fire damage deal? But when you get started, one thing I highly recommend is what's called the 5-foot rule. Okay, the 5-foot rule. It's something you can start immediately, fire damage or not. I always like to give gems of value for people who have nothing and not a penny in their pocket, but they're able to empower themselves and take action. So I call it the 5-foot rule, meaning anybody who comes within 5 feet of you to know exactly what you do, and more importantly, what's in it for them to refer a deal to you. So you want to be able to offer, hey, I pay $500 to $5,000 for anybody who's able to refer me somebody. You might know somebody who might need to sell a house, might go through a divorce, might be going through a probate, might have more bills than income. And if you refer them, you can help yourself by helping somebody you know who's experiencing XYZ. Refer them to me, and I'll pay you $500 to $5,000. What's a good phone number for you? You take their phone number. You don't give them your business card. You take their phone number. You do the text message. And every Friday, you send out a text message to all the people you met. Because if you stay out of sight, out of mind, if you stay on top of them, you'll be amazed. Just with that one technique alone, I made over $500,000 just doing that one technique alone over the last 17 years. And once people know this, and you take the actual consistency of meeting people and following up with them every Friday, you'd be amazed once you lay out to all the different steps. Hey, do you know somebody who's going to divorce, probate, somebody inherited a property, who got more bills, maybe job relocated. Once you lay those out for them, like, oh, I do know somebody like that. And that is the one way you can start creating deals for you. Hustle in your spot and work with what you got.
That's awesome, man. And that's something every single one of us can do, right? Whoever you meet throughout the day, the 5 feet rule, just tell them what you do, what you're looking for, boom, 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 right? And stuff is going on. And like you said, on top of that, the follow-up is key, right? It's one thing to do that initially, but if you don't follow up, man, it just falls by the wayside, right? They forget about you, right? Out of sight, out of mind, just like you said, right?
Yeah, the fortune's in the follow-up. The fortune's in the follow-up.
100%. Well, man, this has been such a fun interview, man. There's so much more stuff that we could have dived into, you know? But the fire stuff is just so unique and so interesting, man. And I love that you've figured out that niche and you figured out how to make 3 checks. I want to say it again, 3 checks from one deal. That's so cool. It's not every day you hear about that. So I appreciate it. But as this show is called Wrestling with Real Estate, I like to incorporate some wrestling related real estate questions. And the first question is, what would your wrestling name be?
My wrestling name would be, good question. I think I'll call it the FDK, the Fire Damage King.
Awesome. FDK, I like that a lot. So every wrestler has a special move. What is your special move in real estate?
My special move in real estate, I would say my polite persistence, my ability to overcome no, my closure callous. I can take 7 no's and keep on taking. I don't even hear the first no until the 7th time. So my ability to be polite persistence and stay in the game, even though I'm getting shut down and telling me no, they're trying to hang up on me, being able to extend that window and still push through, for sure. That's my special move.
That's cool. That's really cool. Because you've got to get used to hearing the word no, right? If the word no is, yeah.
Yes,
what's been the biggest body slam you've taken in your real estate career?
Oh man, the biggest body slam I've taken for sure is really just having having business partners who were friends and not equipped to be business partners, and I put them on 50% level. Thought it was going to work out. Really wanted their success more than they did, and because I didn't let them earn it, I just gave it to them. Not only did I lose out in years of productivity, years of profit, but I end up losing a relationship when it doesn't work out. And that probably, I did that multiple times in my career. So I received the same body slam. I had to learn the lesson multiple times. We call it, like, you don't want to have what we call homie management. When we say homie management, it's like, just because you're my homie doesn't mean they should be working for you. Just because you're friends doesn't mean that they are equipped. You always want to make sure they have the GWC. Do they get it? Do they want it? Do they have the capacity for it? If they don't make them a partner, or you will be body slammed.
Yeah, man, that's very true, very true. So was there a moment that you were standing on the top rope, getting ready to jump, but you were too scared? What was it, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I remember. I'm going back a couple of years now, 3-4 years. And I remember being around some of my friends. I mean, these guys I've been in the game 17 years. These guys have been in 3-4 years crushing and doing 300,000-400,000 months and doing 6-figure deals. So I'm like, man, I want to start doing my own 6-figure deals. So I started getting into land development. And so I'm like, I'm going to do my first 6-figure deal. I finally got the seller, 10-acre, 52-house development. And I'm negotiating. They want 1.1, 1.2. I'm scared because I have to get it for like 800,000. I'm like, holy crap! I don't know if I should talk with them. They're gonna know I don't have the 800,000. They're gonna know I'm a fraud. And so I had all this negative self-talk and this disbelief and self-doubt all rise. I haven't really experienced in my rental house that I did enough of those. But because I'm out of my comfort zone, I'm doing land development. It's my first deal. I was super scared. I was super nervous. But then when I just took plugs, just jumped off the top rope, landed, smashed it, won the match, and that's my first deal. I got it for 800,000, sold to a builder for 975,000, made $137,000 on that deal because I didn't let my doubt, my fear take me off the ropes.
That's awesome, man. That's a nice little check, huh? That's really cool story, man. Well, hey, thank you so much for making the time to be here today, Elijah. It's a really cool story. A lot of value provided to everyone who's listening today, man. A lot of great information. But before we go, if anyone's listening wants to get in touch with you, if they want to find out more about what you're up to, or maybe find out more about your coaching program or anything else that you have to offer, please let them know where they can find that.
Sure. So once again, thank you, Barry, for the opportunity to share and serve. This was fun. You're super cool, super relaxed, my type of guy. So yeah, for those who want to reach out to me, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My Instagram is elijah.rubin. You can be a part of my free Facebook group. It's called Fire Damage Profits, plural of profits, Fire Damage Profits. Facebook group, the only fire damage and real estate investment group. And of all the millions of Facebook groups on Facebook, we're the only one. Another thing, for those who want to be a part of the program, think that the fire damage niche is right for you. You want to learn how to make up to 3 checks from one deal. You go to firedamageprofits.com. Watch a short video, make sure it's the right fit. Book a call, let's hop on a call. Let's see if it's a good fit for each other. And another thing, I'm really big on mindset mastery, and I'm really big on doing affirmations. I just did my affirmation before we hopped on, and I really attract and manifest a lot of opportunities and deals into my life. And so for those of you who want affirmations, all you have to do is just text Elijah to 59224. So you text Elijah, Elijah, to 59224, and you'll automatically get a link sent to your phone on my affirmations. And then last but not least, the Closer Olympics. The Closer Olympics is something we put on. It's the first virtual event we ever put on last year. Online, we took 12 of the top closers, real estate closers in the country. And everybody said they're the best closer. Like, we found out a way to do it. And so we had 12 top closers. We had Max Maxwell, Brent Daniels, and Carlos Reyes as the judges. And so we found out who the top closer was. Go to closerolympics.com. There's a playback footage, over 20 hours, the most entertaining way of learning how to close real estate deals and listening to live top selling closing expert call live, no teaching, all doing right there. You can see people get hung up on, you can see people get contracts. Go to closerolympics.com. You can get to download the footage as we have 2021 Closer Olympics coming. And this year, we have the females and guys going together. So it's really going to be cool. It's really going to be a lot of fun. So keep an eye out for that. And yeah, that's all I got, y'all.
That's a lot. That's awesome. Well, man, Elijah, that's a lot of cool stuff. Thank you so much, man, for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. That's such an awesome interview, man. I really, really enjoyed it today. Have a fantastic rest of your day out there in Phoenix, Arizona, bro.
Well, I appreciate this once again. It's your guy, Elijah I. Each one teach one, each one reach one. Go out your way today. Be a blessing to someone. Salute, Barry.